What's up, gamers? This is Proto, and welcome to another episode of Like or Dislike, where we look at some of the latest games that come out. I give you a synopsis of the story, tell you about the mechanics of the game, let you know what I think about after putting some time into it, and doing the pros and cons at the end of it to help you decide if you might want to get the game or not. So today we are looking at Griefhelm. Now, Griefhelm, and sorry if I said the name wrong, is a side-scrolling indie action game set in the era of medieval times with knights fighting. Now, you play as a knight fighting while regaining your memories of why and for what you're fighting for. Now, you have several modes that you can play, including a campaign mode, an online play mode, a free-for-all, and a training mode. Now, in the campaign, you traverse these strange lands and stages, defeating the boss at the end of each stage to progress to the next one. Now, the beauty of this game is the art style and the style of combat. Now, you have 3 different fighting stances that you can choose from when you're fighting, and you can collect new weapons, armor, perks, and other items to help you in your fight. And they can make a significant difference. You can have some armor that gives you a lot of health, but it might make you slower. You may find weapons that give you crazy damage, but it may interfere with other things. So it's a lot to keep in mind when you're doing it. Now, you have to learn when to parry, when to block, and when to attack to survive in this game. So don't think you can just go in hacking and slashing everybody. You really gotta learn the mechanics of the game. So the learning curve may be a little bit hard for some people. But once you get the hang of it, it gets real easy and it gets real fun. When you're trying to time the enemy's moves or you're trying to parry them and get an attack, it feels so satisfying when you do it, especially against a strong enemy. Now, if you complete a trip in the campaign, you get to keep everything that you earn that journey. But if you die, you lose everything and you have to restart from the beginning. Now, another beautiful thing about this game is if you die or if you complete the journey and start all over again, the journey will never be the same, with all the items and encounters being procedurally generated. But that makes the replay value of the game great because you have so many routes to take in the end. And it's very interesting because you could take one route, for instance, you could start along the beaches and get to a castle, or you could start in the woods and then go to the mountains. You can start in one area and get to a village that came under attack and help push back. You can get to a battle scene, go there. The possibilities of how you can go is endless. And then, like I said, the fact that your items are procedurally generated, you're not going to have armor all at the same points, you're not going to have the same perks. So it really makes you really want to plan your routes out every time you do it. Now, the encounters in the game, and these are the different fights that you will have, can vary. With a horde mode where you fight enemies until they're all defeated, a tug of war mode where you have to push forward until you find a mini boss, and that's basically you going forward and you're taking down enemies until you get to this mini boss, and if you take down the mini boss, you win. But at the same token note, the enemy can take you down and you only have so many soldiers left before they come after your mini boss, and if your mini boss is killed, you lose the entire match. And that can get real intense because you can have moments where you're pushing ahead, they take you down, they start pushing you back, you're going back and forth, and it gets pretty good. And the last mode they have is the skirmish mode, where you go one-on-one with a certain enemy until you guys win 3 fights. And that gets interesting because it's basically, I want to say one-on-one, and that's a big difference in these modes. Sometimes these modes, it will be 1 against 2. So it'll be you against 2 enemies. Or it'll be 2 against 1. You and a fellow player or AI player and pushing forward on these modes. Or it can be 2 versus 2. And they get interesting, especially when you're fighting 2 enemies at once because they both have 2 different types of weapons. So you got to make sure, because for instance, as you guys see in the gameplay, throughout this gameplay, you're going to see I had to fight a person with a sword and a spear, and the person with the spear had a longer reach of attack on me. So you have to keep all that in mind when you're fighting. Now, like I said, you can play with other people, and you can play with up to 4 people total, which can make the battles a lot of fun. And you got to pay attention when you're fighting, because certain items that you use, you can hurt your own self, you can hurt your friends too. But that can make the game even more fun and crazy. Now, graphic wise, this game is very nice to look at. With the items that you can interact in the world, its simple but beautiful look matches its atmosphere. the music, the tone, it really sets you there. And then with the cutscenes slowly giving you information, telling you what's going on, I like that setup. Now, all this gameplay you guys seen was captured on PC. And that's pretty much the end of the review. Now, with that being said, let's jump into the pros versus the cons. And starting off with the pros, the first one we're going to look at is the combat. The combat of this game is very satisfying. Once you learn it, once you get a hang of the weapons that you like to use, it is very satisfying. Blocking, parry, taking down strong enemies. Like I said, taking down somebody that's way stronger than you is very satisfying when you learn how to use the combat system of this game. Now, the next pro we're going to look at is the replay value. Now, I mentioned this earlier in the review. You start off the game and you have different routes to take. You can never take the same route. And you could take the same exact route every time, but it will never be the same events, never be the same resources, never be the same armor, never be the same weapon. So it gives you a lot of replay value to try to collect everything and to just see how every route will take you. And the last pro we're going to look at is the overall theme of this game. I love the setting of this game. You don't really know what's going on, but you know you need to fight to survive. And the way they portray it with the cutscenes, telling you a little bit of information when you're fighting the boss, the little story they give there, it's really good. It gets you really setting that tone of what's going on. And I think that is great. Now, with the pros done, let's take a look at the cons. So the first con we're going to look at, the game is repetitive. At the end of the day, all you're doing is fighting. Regardless of which mode you're doing, you're fighting. And like I said, you're either blocking, parrying, or attacking. So if you're looking for trying to solve puzzles, trying to do other type of things that you would do in other games, like escorting, like I said, puzzle solving, platforming, not really gonna find that in this game. All you're really doing is fighting to survive. Swords, spears, shields, you name it. So it could get boring to some people. Now, the next con we're gonna look at is the load screens. Now, the load screens do give you information on what's going on, but if you've gone through the journey a couple times, it's gonna get boring, it's gonna get annoying. And even if you're playing it the first time, if you don't even want to pay attention to the load screens, it can get a little annoying. You want to skip through them all the time. Luckily, there's a skip button, but it can get annoying with them constantly loading up and taking a long time. And the last con we're gonna look at is the learning curve. Like I said, you can't go in hacking and slashing everybody. You have to learn when to block, when to parry, when to attack, when to pull back, and when to strike. And if you're not willing to take that time to learn that, then you're gonna get frustrated very fast and you're not gonna want to play this game. So if you're not into those type of games, then I can't recommend this for you, because you're just gonna get upset and not want to play it. But that's pretty much the pros and the cons of the game. Overall, I have to give the game a like. Like I said, it's a really fun game. It's a good twist on everything. I think the block and parry attack system is good. It makes the game more enjoyable to me and probably to a lot of people, because you can't just go through it. You have to make your attacks, you have to time them right. Like I said, it's very satisfying when you take down a boss and you time it just right to get that finishing move you need. So that's just my overall review of the game. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. If you got the game, let me know what you like, what you don't like about it. If you're thinking about getting it and this review help you out, hit that like button, let me know. And if you enjoy it, definitely hit that like button again. Make sure you're subscribing so you can keep up to date with what I'm doing. Like I said, if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'll talk about stuff going on in the gaming tech world. I do reviews on some of the latest games and tech that's out. I do top 10 new games coming out every month and so much more. Make sure to follow on social media pages so you can keep up to date what's going on, or if you want to reach out to me. I love talking about gaming, so don't be afraid to hit me up. You can catch me streaming on Twitch. I'll be streaming every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Have multiplayer Mondays, Indie Day Wednesdays, Story Day Saturdays. So something for nearly everybody. So catch me in the streams, chatting it up, and just having fun. But this is Proto, and I'll catch you guys in the next stream.